there just for kicks. Today we're going to be doing an in-house dance studio. I'm going to show you step by step how to do each layer that we put down for a nice plush dance floor in your own home. Alright, so our first step is going to be put a vapor barrier down on the concrete floor. We're going to use a 6 mil plastic, so it's a pretty thick layer of plastic. This is just going to ensure that there's going to be no moisture or water coming either from the outside or from the ground up. So we have a couple layers of carpet padding going in after that. We want to just ensure that there's going to be no water in contact, no moisture in contact with that carpet padding. Alright, the next step is going to be 2 layers of 1/2 inch carpet padding. This is going to give the floor some cushion, so you're not dancing directly right on the concrete, save your joints, and in the future it makes a nice cushioned floor for fitness or whatever else you want to do on there. Knee pads are pretty nice too. You're on your knees quite a bit. So. Cuts around the closet and coming into here, the edge of the door. Nothing needs to be exact. It is just a sub-layer of flooring. The whole floor is designed to shift and move around. Nothing is attached anywhere. So it's not like you'll never see it. It still gives the floor the proper cushion. The floor is built up about 2 inches. After you do your 2 layers of carpet padding, you have 2 layers of MDF 1/2 inch, and then your actual flooring, dance flooring over the top, which is 1/8 of an inch. So it's about a 2 inch build up with that cushion. So on this one, obviously, if we had that, your door, if we went all the way out to the jamb of the door, your door's not going to operate or work. So there's 2 options. You can either cut your door, which in this case we decided to come in at like a little 45, square it off, so that way the door is totally functional without having to mess with the door. So we're going to kind of just run our padding out at an angle, square it up. We'll just do 2 layers like that, and at the end he's going to cap it, homeowner's going to cap it with a bullnose trim to give it a nice finished look. So we'll just have to stay back from the door about right here, probably about 3-4 inches. That'll give enough room to make a perfect cap at the end. We're going to do a second layer. It's going to go perpendicular to the first one, and that should give us enough support for a little bit of cushion on the finished floor. Let's get some nice cushion already. So this will be really nice in here for the Barbie dolls and different things to dance on. So it's a nice tight space in here, so they'll have a nice cushioned dance floor. So this carpet padding I found works best to come with a scissor. It's got a scrim in there, which is like a netting that holds the one side together, the other side doesn't. But when you try to cut that with a utility knife, it just sits there and wants to tear the whole time. So pay attention in kindergarten on how to use scissors, and I'll be able to put a dance floor in someday. So next we're going to use a 1/2 inch MDF, so it's a smooth plywood. We're going to do 2 layers of that, so that makes it 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch is an inch. In the end, that's where I say we get, after it's compressed, you have close to 2 inches, a little more. And so the first layer, we leave a pretty good gap around the edges. I would say a 1/4 to 3/8 gap at least. And the second layer, we get a little bit tighter. So we're going to do 2 layers of that, same as the carpet padding, is going to overlap each other, crisscross it. So you can kind of shift these around after you get a few of them in place. There's nothing that holds them down. It's kind of the tricky thing with it. You're just going to butt your joints up together. And so there's nothing like getting too angry about trying to get them perfect right now. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. It's coming together real nice. So we got the first layer of MDF down. The second layer, when it goes on top, a little more time intensive. We're gonna spread glue out, and then we staple that down. So we're just gonna cut this poly back probably about an inch or two, and that'll get sandwiched in between the two layers of MDF. The first layer goes this way, the second layer is gonna crisscross over the top of it. We just wanna make sure we don't get too close to our seams from the first layer. So you want to stay at least 6 inches away from your seams from overlapping or being right on top of each other. Take these two layers that we put pre-cut, got laid out, we're going to pull them back. We'll put a trowel down some wood glue, and then we're going to staple it in with this pneumatic air staple, 3/4 or 1 inch staple, and that'll hold everything in place and still allow it to shift a little bit if expansion happens, but it'll make for a sturdy floor. Kind of any wood glue will work, but this is one we've gotten from a flooring supply store. So this one works pretty good. Easy to trowel, doesn't have much for an odor. Some of them we've used in the past, they're not as runny as this one. Really, you get pretty tired after a while. It's nice, it doesn't have much for an odor. So any notch trowel will work. You don't have to go with some of them for grout. They're like a 3/4, 1/2 inch notch. This one's just a 1/16 inch. So pretty small notch. This is where you can go back now and push your poly down around your edge. That'll be sealed up. If you want to be like Bob Ross, if you get a little bit extra, you can do with it with whatever you would like. You want to put a little pile of it right over there, you just put a little pile of it right there. This is your dance floor, you can do whatever you like. Your main thing you want to keep in mind when you nail this down is your leading edge should always be flush and straight. So as you continue to grow in your floor and move across your flooring, you always have that square flush edge. So I just like to kneel on both sides of these. You can see that floor is moving a little bit. It's already separated from here. So you have a nice tight fit. I'm going to staple on each side. Where those two, that's pretty flush right there. Sometimes you can have it pushed down, one will be lower than the other. You can see it moving. So I like to push on both sides when you staple it to make sure it's got a good tight fit on each one. Or kneel on it works good too. And you staple the edge of it. And I go back to the other edge. And then in the field of the sheet, you just need a few staples. You don't have to go over abundance on them. Maybe about 3 is more than enough. Basically, all you're doing with the staples is just allowing the glue time to dry, because once the glue dries, that's going to hold everything. And each row you do, it's nice to get to vacuum the floor. Keeps it from getting what we call the chewies. The sawdust will roll up in the glue instead of troweling out nice otherwise. So vacuuming like every row as you go is kind of important. I just want to make sure everything's side to side. You got a nice gap. Fits around the door jambs. So I'm going to go ahead and staple it off. We started with a a full sheet, 4 feet wide. We ended up with, what do we call it, 20 inches, 22 inches. So you just don't want to make sure you don't end up with a 3-4 inch piece. Try to have something that's going to have some decent coverage. Grab the sander. We're going to come through, check out all these seams where the pieces butt up to each other. You just basically a room like this, I just do every seam with the sander. Just hit it for a little bit, go through both ways, kind of just make sure there's no edges off your seams. And as you're doing that, I check where the staples are. Sometimes it kind of pops up some of that MDF. So floor like this, I just ended up going ahead and hitting every staple as well with the sander. That way it's going to make a nice smooth surface for the dance floor. All right, now that our subfloor is all complete, notice we got a little bit of bounce to it. So that's perfect, that's what you want, so you're not right on the concrete. Our dance floor is 71 inches wide. So we're gonna pull some measurements and then we'll snap some lines and we'll be running our dance floor. We'll end up taping the whole perimeter with this 3.5 inch double-sided tape, or people in the industry sometimes call it power tape. Nothing too crazy when it comes to this. The floor's already been vacuumed, so it's nice and clean. Just hold it off a little bit. It doesn't have to be super tight to the wall or anything. Dance floor, that's going to be the finished layer. So I'm just going to measure. This is 71 inches. So now we're going to go in there and we're going to pull 71 inches from the floor. We'll put a roll of double-sided tape on each side of our 71 inch mark. I'm actually going to go just 1/8 of an inch over, so we're about 1/8 of an inch away from the wall with the floor. That'll help protect if there's any curves or anything in the wall. Might have to end up cutting it either way, but 1/8 of an inch should be adequate for a good distance away. Right now we're seeing the bottom side. We'll unroll it, we'll get it cut to a rough length, and then we can flip it over. Sometimes if your utility knife is sharp, you actually gotta watch it because it'll run away from you sometimes when you're cutting. So we're gonna pre-cut it before we pull any of the tape, make sure we got a good fit, nothing's tight. As this will heat and cool off, it will shrink and expand a little bit. And if you do that, then it'll start to buckle or ripple in the middle. So you want to leave a good quarter gap around all your edges. This one we have plenty of room because there's going to be a 3/4 inch base molding that's going to go on top of this all the way around the room. So I think it's a 1x6 base they got planned for this. Alright, so everything looks like we're where it should be as far as on our marks. You always want to take a glance across the floor again, make sure you don't see any. Most times you'll see pebbles or you'll see something underneath the floor. This is your chance right now to get anything out of there. Otherwise you have to go back in there after it's taped down. You're cleaning a lot of power tape off the floor. So this is your chance to try to make sure there's no imperfections, rocks, or any chunks of wood or anything underneath there. I'm just going to cut the tape. So when we pull it up, we're not pulling all that perimeter tape up. So we just make a little cut. You're just going to flop this back. It's pretty sticky stuff, so once it gets flopped on there, there's not a whole lot you do with it. If you're going to pull it up, usually you kind of end up making some bubbles in the floor from where the tape gets gummed up. So the floor is laying nice and flat, which is awesome. That's what we want. So now we're going to keep pulling the tape around the perimeter. We're going to leave this one down the seam until we get the other piece on there. But all the perimeter tape we're going to pull. Instead of sticking this side down, that was already stuck, so I'm pulling it, working it back towards the end that wasn't stuck to the wood. We're going to grab the dance floor and we'll lay out another run. This one's going to be a little more cutting, a little more time consuming. We got a notch around these this closet door frame, this door frame, and then we got our angle down here in the entryway. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stand up and stretch a little bit. I've been on my knees and bent over quite a bit. Sometimes it just feels good just to arch back. Pretty much wraps up the floor portion of everything. A few things to put back on, the base, and a couple things where this threshold and this door meet up with the floor, but for the most part, we have a finished dance floor. It's got some bounce to it, it's got a little cleanup to do. Should be all set. Let's go dancing.